Hi guys. Right, so these are the questions, 80 on cost volume profit analysis. Let's go. Let's see, is that my pen? That's my highlighter. Let me erase that. That's my pen. Oh, brilliant. So let's look at question 82. So a company makes and sells product X and Y, twice as many products of Y. So let's just say we make X and we make Y. So for every unit of X, it makes 2 units of Y. So remember, we discussed this as we need to consider this. There's the assumption that these are sold at the same ratio all the time. So 1 to 2 all the time. So in essence, this is really a batch. We're sort of selling. Think of it as selling 1 donut and 2 sausage rolls. And if you like, I'm just using a Greg's analogy. Right. And that's the first thing. So each unit of product X makes a contribution of $10. And each makes here a contribution of 4, but that's really 4 twice, isn't it? So that's really a total of 8. So really you have a batch bringing you a contribution of 18 every time you sell. And we want to know how many units we're going to have to sell to hit our, well, not just our fixed cost of 90, but a target profit of 45, in essence, which is like a fixed cost, isn't it? In essence. So if it was just a break even, we would just be looking at the 90, but we're also interested in the 45. So therefore it must be 90,000 plus 45,000 divided by 18 pounds. And what we get is we get 7,500 batches. And in effect, in each batch, you have 7,500 units of X, and you have 2 times 7,500 units of Y. So you have 7,500 plus 15,000, taking us to 22,500. And this, if you like, is question 82. Right, question 83. It's an interesting question. You just have to kind of work with it and sort of understand it. It says that Betis is considering changing the way it is structured by asking its employed staff to become freelance. Employees are currently paid a fixed salary. So these are the current fixed costs in the business. The fixed costs of 240,000. And also you have these other fixed costs currently right now of 400,000. So the current fixed costs in this business are 640,000. And it says on a typical working day, staff can produce 40 units. And other fixed costs are, well, here we are, 400,000 per annum. So we've done that. So what is the current contribution per unit? So the current contribution per unit, of course, is 60 minus 20, and that gives us a contribution of 40. So if I want to know what the current, I need to know what the break-even is, because here they're talking about break-even falling, break-even point. So I need to even know what it is. So the current break-even point must be 640,000 divided by 40 units. 640,000 divided by 40 units nicely takes us to 16,000 units. Great, so I have that. So now let's see what happens if we decide to swap and change things. If these guys are going to be paid £200 a day, and on a typical day, staff can produce 40 units, I now have, in addition to materials, I now have labor costs as a variable cost. And if I'm going to be paying my employees, all my employees, £200 a day, and I'm making 40 units a day, you can therefore argue that that's kind of 5 units. So that's £5 per unit. So I now know what the variable cost is per unit as far as labor is concerned, because this is 200 a day and I'm making 40 units a day. So in effect, my new situation becomes I'm selling at 60, I have materials at 20, but I also have variable of labor at 5. So my new contribution becomes 60 minus 20 plus 5, which is 60 minus 25. My new contribution becomes 35. On the other hand as well, my fixed costs have gone from they're no longer 640, they're now just 400,000, because I'm no longer paying this salary. So my new break-even is 400,000 divided by 35. It's a bit of an odd one. It's 400 divided by 35 takes us to, let me just do this again, takes us to 11,000. 400,000 divided by 35 takes us to 11,000 428.5. So suppose 11,428. Well, 426 to be fair. Yeah. So second, 16,000. Yes, I would say 6 because you need to kind of go upwards to 11,429. Sorry, when I said this is 0.5, that's 11,429. Really, because you need to round up. So what does that mean? So this is my new break even as a result of changing the contracts. So what I now see is that it says here the break even. So there's a fall in break even, right? So the fall in break even is gone from 16,000 to 11,429, which is a fall of 4,571 units, which is brilliant. And of course, in terms of operations, that means that operating risk has gone down. We have to sell less to, if you like, break even. So operating risk goes down, break even reduces by 4,571, and my answer is B. Right, question 84. So what we have here is a very interesting situation because they want you to kind of focus a little on this product in particular, P1, by telling you that they're going to shut down P2 and let's just try and break even with P1. So the first thing we need to do is sort of find out what the fixed costs are, and they've given us some sort of fixed overhead. So we can see here that here we have £1.20, and we know the number of units, so therefore the fixed cost relating to product 1 is 12,000 because that's 10,000 units times 1.2. And for P2, we know it's £1, so that's equal to 12,500. I'll just change my pen color for a red one. But now they also tell us that this fixed product P2 has in here a fixed cost specific to product 2. Therefore, the general overhead that still needs to be fulfilled is 10 grand, which means the total general overhead cost must have been 22,000, which is as in the 12,000 plus this 10,000. We won't have this problem, the specific fixed cost of P2, if we shut things down. So now we have a fixed cost of 22,000 to achieve, plus they also want us to hit a target profit of 60,000, which comes to 82,000. Now we also know what the contribution is, because that's what we need. So the contribution is $10 minus £3.50 plus £1.50 plus 60p. So all of this together takes us to 5.6, which leaves contribution at 4.4. So we know what the contribution is, and that's 82,000 over £4.40. And when you do this, 82,000 divided by £4.40, you get 18,000. I'll just write it in the box as they want us to. 18,636. I'll round up to 18,637 for you to truly break even at this point. Great, and that's 84. Right, question 85. I think this is actually quite a fun question. They're looking for break even. So what they're trying to get you to do here is to sort of try and isolate a couple of things, right? They're really, forgive the gentle noise in the background, trying to isolate the, if you like, the selling price per unit or the contribution per unit. So we're literally trying to separate out the fixed costs, which is that and that, from the variable costs. Just change my pen color, which is that and that. And we know this is a situation at 20,000 units. I mean, I suppose you could, I prefer finding out what's going on individually. So for example, I would like to know what the selling price is of each unit. So by doing this, 5 million divided by 20,000, I will get £250 a unit. Right? I know that. Then I guess the next thing is to find what the variable cost is per unit, and those are my variable costs in blue. So that's 1.8 million, again, of 20,000 units, which comes to 1,800. 20. So let me just get that right. It's 1,800. Yes, those are my variable costs. 1,800 divided by 20,000 is 90. So I have a £90 variable cost per unit, which means that my contribution, if you like, is 160. So my contribution is £160 per unit. So I mean, here my fixed costs. My fixed costs are 1, 6, and 1, 2 in red. Just change my pen color back to red, of course, and there you are, 1,600,000 plus 1,200,000 comes to 2,800,000. So therefore, my break-even point must therefore be 2.8 million divided by 160. So 2.8 million divided by 160 takes us nicely to 17,500 units. And that's really where you're going, really, isn't it? To 17,500 units. So key point is to isolate and get, and of course, remember with contribution, we're talking about all the variable costs. So just in case you were you thought, oh, do I include the selling costs? Yes, you do. All the variable costs. We're looking at cost behavior, ultimately. And that's your answer for 85. So that brings us to the first, I think that's the first 5 questions, I think that's a good, so we'll see the next set of questions in the next video.